to another live session of the Educational Bridge Project, where we connect students from Central Asia with universities all around the world. And today we have a special guest. We are pleased to join by Simon, who is the head of Foundation and Chief Academic Officer at Coventry University Kazakhstan. Simon, hello, nice to see you here with us.
Hi, nice to join you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So during this session, we'll talk about what makes Coventry University unique, how the British academic model is implemented here in Astana, what students can expect from foundation programs, and of course, we'll discuss the admission requirements and the scholarship opportunities that are currently available. As always, this is an interactive session, so you are welcome to share your questions in the comments, and we'll be collecting them and addressing as many as possible after the main discussion. So, Simon, again, thank you very much for joining us today. I think I'll have my first question to you. Can you please maybe speak about yourself a little bit, maybe a few words about your background prior to joining Coventry University Kazakhstan?
Great. Well, thanks, Aziz, and great to be here, and great to join all of you watching as well. So yes, my name is Simon Etherton. I'm the Chief Academic Officer and Head of Foundation for Coventry University Kazakhstan, and I was here in Astana to launch the university nearly 2 years ago, and have been working very hard to grow this university over the last couple of years, and we're really pleased with the growth and development. We're really pleased with our students. We're really pleased with everything about the university, and we'll talk a little bit about that going forward. In terms of myself, well, prior to this, I was actually with De Montfort University in Almaty, and helped set up that university, and I was the head of quality and compliance at De Montfort University. And before that, I was 10 years working with the British Council in what they call wider Europe. I was based in Kiev, Ukraine, but I was also working across Central Asia, South Caucasus, Turkey, and before that was in India. And then back in my career, I've worked with the University of Leeds for 6 years. I worked with on undergraduate courses, and also University of Exeter postgraduate courses as well, lecturing on postgraduate courses at University of Exeter. So I have a mixture of higher education, UK university experience, but also sort of education management, teacher training, and so on. So that's me. That's who I am.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. You have an interesting background. So let's talk about Coventry University, right? So it's a well-known UK institution. And what makes Coventry University in Kazakhstan unique and special?
A little bit about Coventry University itself. So we're a licensed branch campus of Coventry University. And what that means is that it's our job here in Astana to provide the same equitable student experience, academically and otherwise, that a student would receive in Coventry in the UK. So we're very much part of Coventry. We are Coventry University in Astana, if you like. Our students, when they register at our university, they're actually registered in the UK. Their final degree, or we call diploma here, doesn't actually say Kazakhstan on it. So it's the same as if you are studying at Coventry University in the UK or any one of their other campuses as well. I think what makes Coventry University unique and special is, of course, its quality. So it's in the QS Top 100 in the world. So it's actually a really high quality university. But it really has a heritage and a background in transferable skills, employability, application of knowledge in practical contexts. And I think that's what makes our university really special, and also pretty much guarantees a really good employment prospects for our students as well, which is really important, a reason why a lot of students do degrees. So I think that's one of the things that makes us unique and special. I think employability is perhaps the key thing. I think here as well, one thing that's a little bit different for us is our faculty of full-time staff here. So what that means is that the students get to know them, of course. They're part of the DNA of the university. It means we can provide ongoing support. You know, you like one lecturer more than another, but having lots of lecturers around all the time, I think really does help. And I think that really makes our university feel like a sort of a family. We're growing up together. You know, obviously we got new intake of students come every year. Have new faculty joining. Some faculty understandably leave after a little bit of time, but most of our faculty are here. We're really proud of them, and we're really proud of our students as well. And I think we have a really close, working relationship between the academic staff, our professional staff, and the student staff. I mean, we're currently only about just over 400 students. And that means that, for example, I know all the students. I know who they are. I really like them. Even the naughty ones, I quite like those ones as well. They're always incredibly polite. And but what it does mean is that if a student's having some issues, you know, either at the university or away from the university, we get to know about it pretty quickly. We can support and help. It does mean that we don't leave students behind, and it means we can provide a really great inclusive education for all of our students, and we really do care about them and look after them through their education process.
Well, thanks so much for telling me that. What do you think are like the key features of British education system that you have implemented here in Astana? Like, how does Coventry University differs from maybe some other universities here in the country?
Right. So, I mean, I think the key answer to this is that is really I'm going to sell British higher education as opposed to just Coventry higher education, because I think what makes British higher education so special is a number of factors. So first of all, it's what is a British graduate? Who are they? What does it mean to be a graduate of a UK institution? And the key difference for me is around critical thinking, problem solving, employability and professionalism, self-awareness, lifelong learning. So the way we teach students in the UK is very much about developing them as rounded individuals, but also it's about them taking responsibility for their own learning. There's a lot of self-directed tasks and learning that are involved. And what that means is that when our students graduate, they have a lot of skills that are transferable into the labor force. So they're very self-directed themselves. They can make decisions. They're very professional in the way they look at things. And it's very different, I think, from students who have been through other higher education systems where perhaps knowledge is more spoon-fed, or where the focus is very much on knowledge and replicating that knowledge. I think what we're looking at with the UK system is students embracing their own learning, taking responsibility for that learning, and really stretching themselves as far as they can go. And then when they go into the workplace, they have all of that skills that they've been working on, which they can then transfer. So I think that's one reason. The other couple of reasons maybe why people like higher education in the UK is our courses are generally a little bit shorter. So an undergraduate course is 3 years, a master's or postgraduate course is 1 year. So I think that's quite useful. If you go to the States, of course, these things are longer, and even in European countries, much longer. So that's good. I think the other thing is that UK degrees are recognized worldwide, so they're globally easily recognized. So if you've got a UK degree, you can pretty much walk into postgraduate courses anywhere in the world. People will accept them. You can also show your CV at a company, and they'll immediately know what they're getting with a graduate with a British degree. So I think that higher employability, greater degree recognition, I think that's all really key as well. So I've kind of sold all the British universities, and that's the answer to that question. But we're very much part of that as well.
Okay, that's great. That was interesting to hear. And you earlier said that the students receive the same diploma as graduates in the UK, right?
That's
Can
right.
you tell me a bit more about that? Like, for example, how is there any difference for the employer, for example?
Well, none at all, because I mean, as I said, when our students register here, they're actually registering in the UK. They get a local email ID, which is the coventry.edu.kz email ID, the educational email ID here, but they also get the coventry.ac.uk email ID. Now that's like a magic ticket, because that email ID gives them access to the world of Coventry in the UK, the library resources, all the online library resources, a lot of the licenses and software that belong to Coventry as well. So they're very much part of the Coventry University system. And the other thing is that, you know, all of the modules, the materials, the assessments come from Coventry. So we deliver the same modules with the same PowerPoints, well, not quite the same, but nearly the same assessments. They do the same, I have to write the same essays. They're marked in exactly the same way, to the same criteria as a student doing the same course in Coventry as well. So we are replicating, if you like, the exact same experience. And then we have a whole process of quality assurance. So this is really the process of moderation. So what happens is that when our students do an assessment, all of those assessments are moderated here in Astana internally. So it's not just one lecturer giving a grade, for example. Those grades are moderated. We then send a representative sample of assessments to Coventry, and then even more than that, as part of the UK system, that sample is then sent to an external examiner who's at another university like Newcastle or Manchester or somewhere, and they'll go through the marks and say, yes, well, if this assessment was done at our university, we would give it the same mark as well. And that way we are, you know, guaranteed of quality assurance of all of the assessment that we do here. And that way our students know, you know, that we're not giving them too low marks, or perhaps the employers will know that we're not giving them too high marks, and that this is exactly the same degree as the student gets in the UK.
That's a very interesting system. Thank you for sharing that. So I think I have my last question about the Coventry University as a whole. Can you tell me what academic values and standards define Coventry University here in Astana?
Right. Well, I mean, again, if you come into our campus, you'll see all of our values are actually on the wall, straight where you come in. And of course, those are collaboration, integrity, determination, diversity, and inclusion. And I think that underpins everything that we do here, and underpins everything that we do in Coventry in the UK. And those are reinforced on each one of the floors of our university building. Our students see those values every day. And we work, all of our faculty, our professional staff, everybody, me, our president, we all work to uphold those values here at the university. I think it's really important for us because they're key to everything that we do. I mean, collaboration, you know, the way that we work together, not just internally here in Astana, but the way we work with our colleagues in Coventry, the support we get, the close interaction that we have, that collaboration is absolutely key. The collaboration between our students, the collaboration between us and industry, for example. We have MOUs with literally hundreds of companies, and that level of collaboration is really important. Collaboration with other universities here in Astana, you know, looking at research collaborations and so on. So that's just taking one of ours as an example of how it underpins everything that we do. And the last thing to say maybe is our main logo or slogan is creating better futures. And for us, that's for Coventry worldwide. There are 50,000 students studying now with Coventry University around the globe, in the UK and different countries. And we're all working towards creating better futures, and better futures of all of our students and everyone who comes through the Coventry system, the Coventry family.
Okay, that's great. So my next few questions will be about the admission process. Can you walk me through the admission process? Like, what are the main requirements for applicants?
Okay. Yes, I can. The admissions office, I will come clean. They gave me a list of things to say just in case I got it wrong. So yes, so I'll walk you through the process. So first of all, of course, you have to choose your course. So, are you joining us at the foundation level, or are you joining us at the undergraduate bachelor's level? And that depends on how many years education we've had. It depends on all sorts of things. So you need to choose that. You need to choose your course. So, are you interested in which school are you interested in? Are you interested in the School of Computer Science and Engineering? Are you interested in the School of Business, Economics and Finance, International Relations? So think about the areas that you're interested in, and then have a look at our courses. And, do you want to do international business management? Are you more interested in marketing, AI? What are your interests? So you need to think about that. You have to prepare and submit all the required documents through the online application form, which is on our website. And it's really important that you read through what's required and you submit the right documents. Once those are all submitted, then your application is reviewed by our admissions committee. So they'll go through all of that and they'll look at your admission, your application. And then, assuming that we like you and we want you to come and join our university, then you'll receive an offer, and then you sign the contract, and then you pay your initial payment and tuition fees, and then you start your classes. So that's the kind of process from initial selection through to submission of your application, acceptance of application, and then joining the university. That's a general thing. If you're applying for a state scholarship, it's slightly different because there are some different requirements around state scholarship. So our scholarship is currently open. It's really important that everyone realizes that you can apply now, but it does close on the 22nd of February. So today is the 13th. So it's less than 10 days away to get your application lodged. So it's a separate scholarship application form, which is available on the university website. You need to pay a registration fee. So you have to commit to applying through the registration fee. And then you wait for the results for the first selection stage. If you pass that first stage, then you'll be called to a second stage. You'll be shortlisted, if you like, because we literally get 1,000 applicants. We've got 200 state scholarships, so we create a shortlist. And then the second stage is you're called to one of the 5 cities around Kazakhstan, where you'll be required to do a handwritten assessment. And then that handwritten assessment is marked. And it takes about 100 words. It's 300. It takes about an hour. It's about a 350-word written assessment that you have to do, and then that's marked. And then if you pass that, then you'll receive a conditional offer by email. And you have to submit a UNT certificate as well by June for that one. Okay, so that's if you like 2 slightly different application processes.
Okay. All right, I understand. So I'll have a few. Maybe if you know some common mistakes that applicants do during the admission process.
Yeah, well, the main one is they submit the wrong documents, or not enough documents. So that's the main one that they do. English language requirements, proficiency requirements. We're a British university. All of our classes are taught through English. Assessments are through English. So obviously we need a minimum requirement of IELTS or TOEFL or equivalent. And often students do apply without the right level of English, and they think maybe an IELTS 4 will be enough when it isn't. So that's another one. And then I think they sometimes miss deadlines. That's also problematic, especially with state scholarship. We get a lot of applications after the deadline closes, and I feel so bad. Why go through all the bother of filling in your documentation and getting everything ready and then miss a deadline? So I think deadlines is there. I think also late payment of after receiving the offer, that can cause some problems as well. But the main one, I think, is the incomplete documentation. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. So How do you think, what does the admission committee pay the most attention to when reviewing applications?
Well, I mean, we're always trying to think, is this student going to fit in well at our university? So first of all, we want to make sure that we are the right university for the student. We don't want to admit someone if this is the wrong university for them. So there's that. But we also want to make sure that they're going to be able to do well at our university. So, you know, we do have our entry requirements around English proficiency and academic achievement, etc. So we look at those things, and those are really important for us to just to make sure that the students there is going to be a good fit for our university. We do pride ourselves on academic excellence at this university. So, you know, if someone really doesn't want to study, this is perhaps a good place for them to come, because we do have high expectations of all of our students, and they have high expectations of themselves and each other. And I think so that's good. Doesn't mean we don't have fun here, because the student experience is really good. But I think we do take academic excellence quite seriously. And at the application stage, we're looking just to see that the student is serious about their studies and really does want to come and work hard for a British degree.
All right, I understand. Maybe a few words about the foundation program. How does it work, and for who that foundation program will work the best?
Yeah, so the foundation program is quite important here in Kazakhstan, because a lot of our students, you know, they finish school after grade 11, and they can't actually start a British degree without completing 12 years of education. So in the Kazakh system, if you like, that 12th year is usually the first year of their university studies. So it's like our foundation year. If someone has done an international baccalaureate program, or maybe A levels, or have completed 12 or 13 years of education, they don't need to do the foundation. They can go straight into our undergraduate programs, our bachelor's programs. But for most of our students, the foundation is a requirement. But I think it's a lot more than a requirement. It's actually, you know, if you imagine foundation of a building, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen a construction of a new apartment building, but the foundation is really the most important part, because the whole building is built on that, and it has to be very firm, it has to be very strong. And I think our foundation course provides that kind of really strong start to your studies in a UK higher education degree. And the reason for that is, one, we focus a lot on developing your academic language and skills. So a lot of our students already have like IELTS 6.5, 7, 7.5. It doesn't mean that they know how to use their English effectively in an academic context. So we do a lot of work on the foundation, right the way through the foundation, not just the first few months, but right the way through the foundation course. We're working to develop the academic skills. That's, of course, essay writing, referencing, all of that stuff. But it's also about critical thinking. It's about the way they engage with knowledge that comes in various ways and formats, and so on and so forth. So I think that's an important part of the foundation. But the foundation also provides a foundation in the subject area. So, you know, our business students on the business foundation, they will do business communication skills. They do a module on marketing for business. They do another module on management skills, kind of foundation for management, foundation for marketing, and so on. So they get that idea about business, so that when they come to start their undergraduate program, they kind of know, are they a marketing person, or are they a management person, or administration, or finance, or what might it be? Because it's such a big field, for example, just in business. So it helps them to understand what exactly is those different things, and make sure that they've got all the key knowledge in place and the skills in place to do well on their program.
All right. Okay, I understand. So, if you don't mind, we'll talk about scholarship. A few questions about.
Yep.
So the university announced the full scholarships. What makes this opportunity like special, and what exactly does the scholarship cover?
Right. So it's a full scholarship for 4 years. So we do actually have a lot of students on our scholarship program this year. We've got 200 scholarship students. This year they're split pretty equally between computer science and business. Between girls and boys as well, in terms of it covers the whole 4 years of your study, so foundation through to your final year of undergraduate bachelor study. We do have students who've actually completed 12 years of, they've done an IB or something like that, but they still have to start. That's the first thing that makes it special. You also, in addition to it being fully funded, you also get a stipend as well. That can help with your living expenses and so on. And we give support with dormitory accommodation and so on if you're from Astana itself. But I think the key thing for me is that this scholarship gives you a British degree, a British diploma, if you like, exactly the same as you would get as if you were anywhere in the UK, but you can study for it here in Astana, and you can get it for free here in Astana. And for me, the reason why the Ministry of Science and Higher Education gave us these scholarships, is because a lot of the students who come and join us would normally go overseas, and we want to keep these students here in Kazakhstan. It's important that they don't all go overseas. They can get the same education here. And of course, we have summer school trips to the UK. You can do an exchange program with one of our other campuses. So you still get a bit of an international experience, but it does mean that the core of your studies can be here. You can stay with your families. We know you're safe. The world is a pretty volatile place at the moment. And I think a lot of mums and dads like to keep their sons and daughters a little bit closer to home where they can look after them, but know at the same time that they're getting a really high quality British education.
All right, great. Do you know what are the key selection criteria for scholarship candidates?
Yeah, so the main two criteria would be your English proficiency and your academic achievement. So, English proficiency, we measure that with IELTS or TOEFL, IBT or an equivalent. The minimum just to apply for the scholarship is a 6. I'll say that the average IELTS of our scholarship students this year was 7. And we've got a lot of students who have even 8 and above on IELTS. So, to get selected, you have to have a good IELTS score. And I'd say pretty much to get a scholarship, you can get one if you've got a 6.5 and you've got excellent GPA, but usually having better level of English helps. And of course, we go on academic achievement, which is based on your GPA from your schools. The minimum, I think, is we go for a 4.5 out of 5, 4 out of 5. But what that means is that a lot of our students have over 4.5 of a GPA. And they're top-notch students. They're all future first-class honors students. They put a lot of pressure on us, I have to say, Aziz, because, I keep telling our lecturers, that our students have really high expectations of you, of their studies, of what they're going to achieve out of this. So we're all pushing each other to really excel and do well here. And I'm really pleased with all of our scholarship students. They're working really hard. And they're fitted in really well to this university.
All right, great. Can you share with me maybe some advices for those who are applying to scholarship right now, like how to make the application stronger for them?
In terms of making the application stronger, obviously things like if you're an Olympiad winner, these things also work very well. And there's a whole list of things that you can add to your application. We don't do, the key criteria for selection, though, for the second round that to be shortlisted is really your English language proficiency and your GPA. Now, it's probably a little bit late to do something about your GPA, but I think you know, if you can work hard on your English language, and maybe not for this year's scholarship, but maybe if we've got listeners looking for next year, you know, work on your English. I think that's really key. Get as high an IELTS score as you can, and that makes a big difference to getting a scholarship at a British university.
Okay. Are there some kind of interview for the applicants, or just the documents?
It's just the documentation. Yeah, we don't do an interview, and we don't actually select on UNT either, Aziz. You are required to submit your UNT if you're selected, and it has to be in the right subject areas for the subject you've chosen. But you know, it's pretty much a minimum level of the UNT that you have to achieve. I know some universities here in Kazakhstan do their selection based on UNT, but we don't. We base it on GPA, and we base it on English proficiency.
Okay, I see, understand. A few questions about the career prospects. What do you think, what career opportunities are available to graduates with a British degree from Coventry University Kazakhstan?
Well, I mean, obviously it opens up the world, doesn't it? So it's a global education. You know that you can take your degree anywhere in the world. People will recognize it. Coventry University is a very well recognized university globally, and it's very well respected. As I said, it's in the QS top 200 in the world. So people do recognize that, whether it's for further postgraduate studies. Maybe you want to do an MBA somewhere like Singapore. Maybe you want to, you know, even go to some other countries in Europe. So a British degree is really well recognized, and amongst employers too. And I talked earlier about the graduate attributes of UK graduates. So I think that it gives you that power, but I think it's also gives you a lot of power here in Kazakhstan, because, you know, after studying for 4 years at a British university, your English is fantastic. Not only have you got great English, but it's the way you use your English. So in terms of an employer, they're looking at someone who can write really fluently and academically, who's really, you know, who's really able to hold discussions at a very high level, to think critically, read things very efficiently and effectively in English. So international companies based here in Kazakhstan, but also Kazakh companies looking to play on the international market, our graduates are really important for them. So, you know, I'm very confident that whether you want to spread your wings, you'll stay in Kazakhstan and contribute to the growth and development of Kazakhstan. But I think, you know, whether it is going overseas or using your British degree really to support Kazakhstan's growth and development on the international stage, I think either way you're really made. I think it is a really good quality degree.
All right, great. So do students have some kind of internships during their studies, and do they have like some kind of career center or job fairs, for example?
Yeah, so I mean, we're still brand new. So we've got our foundation students and our undergraduate, first-year undergraduate students. But we don't just do internships. We actually do compulsory work placement every year. Our undergraduate, not our foundation students, they're a little bit young and they're focusing on getting ready for higher education. But our undergraduate students, every year, they have equivalent to one short semester of work placement. Now, that's not just an internship somewhere. What we do is it's compulsory. They have to do it. It's part of their degree program. We've got signed MOUs with top-notch companies here in Astana, but also around Kazakhstan. We already have more places for internships than we have students for this year. What we want those work placements to be is connected to the students' interests, to what they want to what they're studying, what they want to be, and it has to be relevant and appropriate for them and their studies, and help them to apply some of their learning that they've been doing in that year into a workplace situation. So we want those work experience, the work placement, to be really beneficial for our students, to be a proper experience for them. And of course, companies really want our students, because what they're looking at is their future employees. They're looking at people who they can employ when they graduate, who can walk straight into their company. They know who they are, they know what they can do, and they know they're going to be top-notch employees for them as well. So it's a win-win for both of us, really. By the end of when our students graduate, they will have had 3 separate compulsory work placements, hopefully in 3 different companies, which will give them that experience that they need, so that they can walk into any job already understanding what they're required to do in the workplace.
All right, thank you so much for answering my questions. But as I said, we'll have a small Q&A session. And I see that there are a few questions here in the chat already. So let's start with the first one. Thank you for the stream. Is it possible to transfer from another university without losing credits?
That's a good question to start with. It's actually quite a complicated question. So the short answer is that depends. It is, but it depends. So, for example, if you've done a first year at a Kazakh university and you want to join our undergraduate program, that's usually possible, depending on what you did in your first year, what your subject area is. That's absolutely possible, because you'll have completed your 12 years and equivalent of the foundation, if you like. So that's normally possible. If you've done a foundation somewhere else, if you've been overseas and you've done a year somewhere else, usually coming into our first year undergraduate program is fairly easy based on those experiences. Where it gets a little bit more complicated is if you've been studying at another university and you want to join our university during the first year of undergraduate studies. After that, it becomes a little bit more difficult. But in the first year, it's absolutely possible. It's something called recognized prior learning. So what we can do is we can look at what you studied in your other institution, the modules that you studied, what your achievement was there. And basically, we give it all to Coventry in the UK, and they decide, is what you were studying equivalent to what you would have studied if you'd done the first year or the first semester here. If it is, if we feel that what you've studied, the content and your achievement level is the same, then we can give you recognized prior learning and you can join our degree program at those later stages. But as I say, it's very much on a case-by-case basis. It is possible, but it does depend on where you were studying and what you were studying and how many years you were studying.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you so much for answering. So next question, how many applications have you already received? I think that is the question about the scholarship.
The scholarships. I didn't look today, but I think it's over 300 and something, maybe 400. But that was yesterday, and it's like growing every single day. So if I was guessing, it would definitely be more than 400 applicants so far. We're expecting over 1,000 applicants by the end of next week, which is the deadline.
Okay, I understand. What level of English is required? So yeah, maybe an IELTS, how much an IELTS should have?
So if you want to join our foundation program, not the scholarship, but just if you want to come and join us on our foundation program, the minimum IELTS level is a 5. Okay, so it's an IELTS 5 with no skill below 4.5. There is an equivalent, of course, for TOEFL IBT. Our Coventry University equivalent is a little bit higher than the internationally recognized rates, so you need to check with our admissions office, but it's an IELTS 5. And the idea is that by the end of your foundation year, with all the work that we do with you, you will have reached an IELTS 6 level. An IELTS 6 is the requirement to join undergraduate studies. So our students on our foundation, once they're on the foundation, they don't need to do IELTS again. As long as they complete the foundation, automatically they go into undergraduate studies. Even if they want to go to Coventry in the UK, because they've already done the foundation here. But if you're joining us directly into undergraduate studies, let's say you were doing A-levels or baccalaureate or something, then it's an IELTS 6 that's required. Okay. I will say, as he says, one more, just to make it a little bit more complicated. We do actually, for our foundation, we have a January intake. So we do take students in January for the foundation year, and we give them an accelerated program so that by the time they get to the summer, June, they'll have done the equivalent of a whole year of the foundation in those 6 months that they're with us. And but to join us in January, you need an IELTS 5.5. You can't join with a 5. Only if you join in September can you have a 5. But if you've got a 5.5 and you've decided you've changed your mind about where you're studying, or maybe you were taking a year off and now you're bored or something, you can join us in January with an IELTS 5.5, and you can still then join the undergraduate program in the summer that year.
All right, I understand. We have an interesting question. Why have you opened the Coventry University in Kazakhstan? Why in our country?
So there's lots of reasons for that. I think from a national level, from Kazakhstan's level, the Minister for Science and Higher Education is very keen to provide really good quality higher education experience for all Kazakhstani youth. So that's really important. And realizes that a lot. Do you know that Kazakhstan, I think, is one of the highest GDPs in the world for sending students overseas of any country in the world? Kazakhstan sends more students to study overseas than any other country. Not, of course, in terms of pure numbers, but as per capita, it's one of the highest. And of course, we're very keen to keep students here in Kazakhstan. So having that sort of high quality international education in Kazakhstan is really important. And you've seen the opening of a few universities, and there will be more inevitably that will come. So, and of course, the demographics in Kazakhstan speak for themselves. There's an awful lot of children coming through the system requiring higher education. So the more higher education, more good quality choices we can provide students as the numbers grow, I think is preparing for the future as well. So that's from the countryside. From our side, from Coventry University's side, Coventry sees itself as very much a global university. As I said, there are about 30,000 students studying in Coventry in the UK, but there's more than 25,000 students, I think 23,000 students studying with Coventry University around the world. And there are campuses in Singapore, Egypt, Poland, Morocco, and now Kazakhstan as well. They've just announced their opening in India. Now, the reason for that is really because Coventry sees itself as every time Coventry opens a new university, it enriches itself. It's sort of it's not just about us providing income or whatever to Coventry. It's not about that. All of our students, all of the staff here help make the overall education delivery or the overall education offer of Coventry richer. For example, we have international relations here at Coventry University. It's a BA, Honours in International Relations. Now, when you look at the International Relations course in Coventry, it doesn't really have a lot on Central Asia. Doesn't even have a lot, I would say, on post-Soviet nations and all of those things. Because we've now opened here, all of that information, all of those ideas, can go into feeding the development of our modules, our materials, so that students who study international relations in the UK can now start to learn about Central Asia, Kazakhstan, because we're part of the same group, the same ecosystem, if you like. And I think that's really important. I think Coventry really does embrace this idea of transnational education and what that means, not just for providing opportunities for young people here in Kazakhstan, but also for enriching the whole university's educational offer.
That's a great perspective. Thank you so much for sharing that. So we have a next question. Does portfolio and activities increases the chances of being accepted for a grant?
Could you repeat the first bit of that? I'm not sure I understood it.
Yeah. Does portfolio and activities increase the chances of being accepted?
Okay, so in terms of the state scholarship, not really. I mean, I think obviously we do look at the whole student, and if it's if we have tied students, then we'll look at what else they'll bring to the university in terms of sporting achievement, perhaps, or things like that. But of course, if you're an Olympiad winner, that makes a big difference. I think that really does. So just in terms of student life, we have a really great program here. We've got, I think, over 20 clubs, student societies and clubs, really active. Our students represent Coventry University on many stages, sporting events. We do very well in football. We come second or third in inter-university competitions. We've got a great football team, volleyball team. I just signed off our boys volleyball team going off to play in a university tournament, basketball as well. So sports is really good. But we have a lot of other societies. So Enactus is really powerful here. They win lots of awards as well. They love competing, debating, and so on. So the student experience, I think, is really rich on this campus. They really enjoy their time. They get a lot of support from the university around that sort of level of experience. And of course, being at university is not just all about your studies. It's about making friends. It's about enjoying yourself as well, and having great places to hang out and chat with your friends, and go to the canteen and have lunch together, etc. So I think all of that's great. We've got a really vibrant modern campus here. It's quite cozy. We are going to be expanding as we go forward. We've got a new greenfield site. We're designing that at the moment here in Astana. Possibly expand that. We're planning to expand to Almaty as well. So whenever we're looking at our spaces, we look at, yes, classrooms should be really modern, comfortable places for our students to study and learn, high-tech equipment, comfortable seats and furniture, all of that's there. But we also look at the spaces, the library spaces, the study spaces, the hanging out spaces, the foosball and the table tennis and all of those kind of things. And we have a gym on campus as well. So all of that is adds to the student experience as well. Mm-hmm. Shall we, now I've got my voice back, shall we go back to that other question?
Yeah, sure. So the question was about the portfolio and non-academic achievements and activities.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say was, okay, for the state scholarship, I think yes, we do look at it, but it's not the main factor by which we do choices. However, we do have other partial scholarships and awards which are based on other levels of achievement. So, if you're an ice hockey player and you play for the under-16s national team, etc., or we actually have 2 students studying here who are on full scholarships for chess. So they've won fresh chess tournaments, etc. So we like to encourage students' achievement, not just their academic achievement, but other achievements as well. And we can do that through some of our own scholarships too. So if you are a star in something, you apply for us and we'll see what we can do for you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for answering. Do you provide dormitories for students?
So that's so we don't have our own dormitories this year. When we move to our new campuses, that's the first thing we're going to build, because we do realize how important it is to have high quality, safe, secure dormitories for our students, and we want to attract students from all over Kazakhstan, not just Astana. Of course, Astana is not as expensive as Almaty, for example, to live. But we are in partnership with a number of dormitories, and we do vet those dormitories. We make sure that all of the dormitories in which our students are staying are safe, secure, and they're good quality dormitories. We're currently looking at a new block of dormitory buildings just around the corner from the university, and we might even be putting some of our our teaching and learning into that same block, so that students who are staying in that dormitory can just go downstairs and they'll be in the classroom. So that will be quite interesting as well.
All right, great. So I think that was like the last question from the audience, and I just wanted to say thank you for everyone for being with us today. And Simon, thank you so much for your insights about the Coventry University Kazakhstan, about the education system and opportunities. It was great. And maybe if you want to say some farewell words to the maybe potential students of the Coventry University Kazakhstan.
Great, Aziz. Thank you so much. Apologies for losing my voice there. I'm kind of getting over a cold, so you know me. The problem is people who know me know that I talk too much, so that's a problem. Anyway, it was a real pleasure being with you today. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you for those of you who wrote in some questions for us. You know, we're really excited about Coventry University. We're really excited about where this university is going. I love our students. I love being here, and I would love to see any one of you come and join us here at the university. You're more than welcome. If you want, come and talk to our admissions team, our recruitment team. We can do a campus tour. And if you want to come and see me, I'm always happy to see future students and have a chat as well. So, so our doors are open. And why not think about coming to join Coventry University? We'd love to have you.
Great, thank you so much, Simon. And of course, thank you so much for everyone who submitted their questions and participated in the conversation. This was just one of many conversations we are hosting as a part of the Education Bridge project. We'll continue bringing representatives from universities around the world to speak with our audience. So stay connected, follow our updates, and we look forward to seeing you at the next live session. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye-bye.